Shemai, how to read music, treble clef. Now, as a classroom music teacher, we teach lots and lots of students how to read music. I'm also an instrumental teacher, and I actually teach instrumentalists slightly different. But today, I want to go over some really basic music theory. In other words, how to read music, to show you patterns and things, and that will then help you if you're looking to read music with an instrument. So when you start reading music, okay, it really isn't actually that difficult. There's only two things you need to know. First of all, what note are you playing? And that's what we're going to look at right now. And also how long to play that note. And I will be doing another very basic theory lesson on that too. So, first of all, the most basics, what is this? Okay, this is the absolute basis of reading music, these 5 lines. And it's called the stave. Can be called the staff, okay, but generally we call it the stave. So, 5 lines, and there's something I'm going to add even before we start to read the notes. The treble clef. Little bit of a squiggly line, okay? Not the easiest things to draw. If you do want to have a go of drawing a treble clef, it always starts on the second line up, and there are some easy ways to practice it. Okay, and in fact we get the students in school to practice making those symbols, the treble clefs. So why is the treble clef, this symbol, important? It's because it's not the only clef. There are several clefs, okay? The main two being this one, the treble clef, but there's also something called the bass clef, which lower pitched instruments would play, something like the bass or the cello or the tuba. The kind of instruments that would play the treble clef would be much higher pitched instruments, things like the violin or the flute or the ukulele, okay? And then you've got some instruments that play both clefs, the most obvious example being the piano. So the notes themselves, or symbols, because at the end of the day, music is a universal language, and we could remember this is only one type of music. This is Western traditional music. There are other types as well, okay? But in this case, our notes are letters, just like a little alphabet. Don't worry, there's not loads and loads of notes. In fact, there's only 7 different note names. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And then we go back to A again. We'll take a look at it on our stave. So as I said earlier, there are 5 different lines on our stave. That means we get notes that sit in the space and notes that sit on the line. We're going to start with the notes in the space. So we've got 4 spaces, therefore 4 notes. It's so simple to remember this one. The notes in the space spell face. It really is that simple, and that is the way I've taught it for many years, and how I learned it a very long time ago. But the notes in the space spell face. So the notes on the lines this time. You've always got to be quite neat. You've got to make sure that the note cuts the line in half or sits neatly in the space, because otherwise the musician might not be quite sure which note to play. EGBDF. All right, they're not quite as easy. It doesn't make a word like face with the notes on the space. So we tend to use acronyms. This is by far the most popular way of learning the notes on the lines. Every good boy deserves food. That was the one I was taught a very long time ago, and is still one of the most popular. Over the years, I've thought of many. The students in school have thought of some brilliant ones. One of my all-time favourites, elephants go berserk drinking Fosters or Fanta or Fizzy, whatever you want to swap it out with. I wrote down a couple that we've just done this in school at the minute. So I've written down a couple that some of the pupils have come up with this year. So these are 2021 line note acronyms. I love some of these. Empty garbage before dad flips. Every gold bar deserves finding. Oh, every green boogie deserves flicking. Everyone's gone because dad farted. Every girl band deserves fans. And my favourite, because it's so sweet, every grandma bakes delicious food. Okay, honestly, have a think, because the process of coming up with your own actually helps you remember. Okay, so notes on the line: every good boy deserves food, because it's E, G, B, D and F. So we've looked at the notes on the spaces, we've looked at the notes on the lines. Let's join them up now. I've purposely used different colours. This is how I do it in school. So we've got our notes on the space, F, A, C and E, and then we've got our notes on the lines, E, G, B, D, F. Okay, but remember, face and every good boy deserves football, or even green boogies deserve flicking. Sorry. All right, so maybe you can start to see a little pattern now, because E, F, G, we don't go to H, it goes back to A, B, C, D, E, F. What would come after F? Okay, G. What would come before E? D. Da-dun! Okay, and it can just keep going either way, up or down our staircase. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-dum. All right, and back the other way. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-dum. All right, so let's join all those notes up. Okay, these are the ones we looked at a moment ago. The only difference is now they're just in black, not different colours. Okay, so we are not just confined to these notes, okay? We can actually add extra lines, and they're called ledger lines. Let's see. Here you are. You can see I've just drawn a line in. I can put a note on that. What note comes directly before D? That'll be a C. What comes before C? Think of your alphabet. B. What comes after G in music? Not a H. A. Okay, now I'm a little bit confined just with my whiteboard here, but it is possible to keep going with ledger lines, all right? And you can keep going quite high, especially when you're going up. and they can be quite difficult to read. Something we need to know. That note, really important, it's called middle C. Now if you're learning to read music playing a piano, that's actually really obvious and easy to learn because you're shown where middle C is on the piano. It's not actually so simple on other instruments, but it is called middle C. Now it's important because that is our pivot note. Okay, if we look now at what we call the grand stave or grand staff, all right, you'll see two sets of staves on there. That is what piano music would look like, because obviously piano music has got two hands, so therefore two lines of music, your right hand and your left hand. Okay, so you can see the top stave has got a treble clef, and the notes look like the notes we've just been learning for our treble clef. And then the bass clef has got, they look the same, the notes, but they're called something different. Still letter names, okay, you've still got a mini alphabet, but for example, the middle line on the bass clef is not a B like it is on a treble clef, it's a D. And I will be doing another video just like this one explaining the bass clef notes as well. But it's really important you understand the difference, first of all, that you get different clefs. Treble clef tends to be your right hand on the piano. Bass clef tends to be your left hand on the piano, or lower pitch notes. There are other clefs. Alto clef, tenor clef. I don't want to fry your brains with that today, okay? But the grand staff is really important because you can see middle C on treble clef and then middle C on bass clef. And if you notice, it mirrors the treble clef. It's one ledger line above the stave. So treble clef, every good boy deserves football. F-A-C-E spells face. All right, I'm trying to keep this really simple because ultimately basic music theory actually is very simple and always very logical. It does make me laugh when I see YouTube videos saying learn music theory in 15 minutes, and I'm thinking you'd be lucky. This is how I teach it in school. It's a little bit different when I actually teach instruments, and there will be some how to read music for bass ukulele and ukulele coming up soon. So there we are, treble clef, basic music theory. This is how I teach it in school. I am planning on doing some instrumental how to read music lessons because I teach it slightly different. Please feel free, leave a comment or a question below. Let me know if you've enjoyed this or not, and if you'd like me to do more music theory. All right, this one is really, really basic. I can do more complex things as well. All right, give us a like if you've enjoyed, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on new videos. Thank you for watching.